In the southwest of Turkey, approximately 110 kilometers north of the well-known resort of Antalya, lies the ancient city of Sagalassos. It is located high in the mountains at an altitude ranging from 1,400 to 1,600 meters. Sagalassos has been known as a city settlement since the beginning of the first millennium BC, serving as a center of the historical region of Pisidia. Over the centuries it belonged to various states, Phrygia, Lydia, Persia, and later to the empire of Alexander the Great. After his empire collapsed, Sagalassos and Pisidia became part of the Hellenistic kingdoms of Pergamon and then Galatia. When the last Galatian king, Amyntas, died in 25 BC, Galatia became a Roman province. From that moment on, Sagalassos became part of the Roman Empire, and later of Byzantium. The city's decline began with the so-called Justinian Plague, which struck in 541 to 543 AD. Its population drastically fell. Then, in the 7th century, a devastating earthquake forced the remaining inhabitants to abandon the city and move to the valley below. Sagalassos was buried and forgotten, but that very abandonment helped preserve it almost intact. The first excavations began in the 19th century after written references to the city were discovered. Since 1990, a major archaeological expedition led by Mark Welkins from the Catholic University of Leuven in Belgium has been working at the site. They not only excavate, they restore. Thanks to their efforts, Sagalassos has been open to the public since 2013. It's important to note, Sagalassos stands out sharply from other cities in Asia Minor. Why? Because during the reign of Emperor Hadrian, a colony of Roman veterans was established here. This gave the city a distinctly Roman character, unlike its neighbors, which preserved the Hellenistic tradition. Most of the city's major buildings and structures were constructed during the reign of Hadrian and his immediate successors. That's why we can rightfully call Sagalassos a Roman city of the Antonine dynasty era. And now, let me take you through the most remarkable places in this ancient city. Passing through the entrance gates, you'll immediately notice the Roman baths on the left. Originally built in the 1st century AD, they were significantly expanded in 120 AD and richly decorated with stunning mosaics and grand sculptures. During excavations, archaeologists discovered fragments of statues of emperors Hadrian and Marcus Aurelius. Continue down the path to the left. Pass the Roman baths, and you'll arrive at the lower agora. Remember, the agora is a market square, similar to the Roman Forum. This one was built before the Roman era, but it was significantly developed during the Antonine period. And this marketplace wasn't the only one. Climb higher to the 2nd tier and you'll find the upper agora. Along with its usual structures, the northern side of the upper agora is closed off by what is perhaps the most famous building in Sagalassos, the Antonine Nymphaeum. A monumental fountain built during the reign of Marcus Aurelius Antoninus. The fountain is 28 meters long and almost 9 meters high. Its grand facade is divided into 8 sections, each featuring niches that once held statues. The entire structure was financed by a man named Titus Flavius Severianus Neon, one of the most influential citizens of ancient Sagalassos. Remarkably, this fountain is still functioning today. Its water supply system was restored and reconnected around 2010. The statues? They too have been brought back to life, though what you now see in the niches are replicas. The originals are kept safely in the Sagalassos Museum. But the Antonine Nymphaeum wasn't the only fountain in the city. Another stands out. the Hadrian Nymphaeum, built between 129 and 132 AD and dedicated to Emperor Hadrian. It rose to a height of 17 meters, and it was the only two-tiered fountain in all of Sagalassos. This one was funded by Tiberius Claudius Piso, the first citizen of the city to achieve equestrian status. That meant he owned property worth at least 400,000 sesterces. Unlike the Antonine Nymphaeum, this fountain has not yet been restored. Another grand structure in the city was its theater. Construction began in 120 AD, but was halted somewhere between 180 and 190. And though the population of Sagalassos never exceeded 5,000, the theater was designed to seat 9,000 people. Why so large? Because the city believed it would one day become the capital of all Pisidia.
But those dreams crumbled when the Antonine dynasty fell from power. Without imperial support, Sagalassos could no longer fund its grand ambitions. The second floor of the stage and parts of the seating area were simply never finished. I see my story's becoming a little long, so let me end by briefly mentioning just a few more remarkable places without diving too deep into their histories. The house with a fountain, where just like in the Antonine Nymphaeum, the water supply has been restored, the so-called Northwest Heroon, a monument to an unknown hero, the Neon Library, named after that same generous patron, Titus Flavius Neon, the Bouleuterion, the city council building, the Miol, a covered food market with a rotunda at its center, and, finally, the ruins of a 4th century Byzantine church which once served as the bishop's residence. And with that, I conclude my story of the Roman city of Sagalassos. Goodbye.